Radio 1700. Now, live in studio, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family, your business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Before we get into our intriguing content this morning, please join me in welcoming our featured guest, Lisa Duarte, Legacy Group Realty. Welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And of course, another beautiful day in Southern California, and we are celebrating. Today would be National Pina Colada Day. It's almost 5 o'clock somewhere, so I will be celebrating. I don't know, maybe I'll stick with my martini, but we'll see about that. National Pina Colada Day. Sounds a little fun to me. On the flip side of the coin, I don't know about fun here. Oreos getting thinner? How could they do that to our Oreos?
You know better than that.
Unbelievable. The dip in Oreos, not with the pina colada, but a little Oreos there. I've been known to indulge myself. Think about this. Why are they doing this? It can't be because of the calories. The new Oreo is 140 calories for 4 cookies. The old one was 160 calories for 3 cookies.
What are you doing?
Oh, well, we'll move along. Did you check the news this morning? At least we finally got rid of the Confederate flag. Who cares? I mean, unbelievable that we've made such a big deal out of the Confederate flag. You know, I watch this, what's going on, and I'm starting to use the term the silent majority. Silent majority. Now, I understand there's a lot of people that think that the Civil War was about slavery. That was a secondary reason for the Civil War. The main reason for the Civil War was the states wanting to secede from the Union. They didn't like the control from the North against the South. Control? Are we seeing that again? Now, if we get rid of the Confederate flag, and I saw earlier this week that we did have that issue that the courts are saying Redskins, that's a derogatory term from the Washington football team. You know, I do remember, I shouldn't say I remember, I have read that George Washington had slaves. So do we have to change the name of that state up north? Do we have to change the name of the capital of the country? You know, we might find somebody that's getting offended by that as well. How far are we going to go? Just a question to pose to you this morning. Speaking about how far are we going to go, do you think that this whole Confederate flag issue is going to put Nikki Haley, the governor of South Carolina, is it going to put her on the GOP ticket? Do you think this is going to be her stepping block to get up there to running for the vice presidency? Could be. It could be a stepping block right there. I don't know. Moving a little bit closer to home, how about Rudy Giuliani in the news again? He keeps himself relevant on a regular basis, not about the hacking this time, but we will talk about that hacking and the government losing 21.5 million people's personal data and the friends of those people. Think about that one. We haven't heard that too much before, that hacking, but we'll talk about that in a minute. The mayor, Giuliani, talking about sanctuary cities and this horrific story out of San Francisco where Kate Steinle was killed by a 5-time felon, illegal immigrant, coming back to the country over and over and still out of jail. So have you signed the petition for Kate's Law? It's a new one going around. Felons, and it's not the misdemeanors, but criminal felons who come back into the country after being kicked out, 5 years mandatory federal prison term. Second-time offenders, 10 years. Third-time offender, you get 20 years. So think about that. That's 35 years between all of those. Maybe it'll save some of the citizens from people like this character up in San Francisco. And I would suggest the sanctuary cities that decide they don't want to follow federal law, cut off federal funding. I bet they follow federal law a lot quicker if they get no federal money. Again, whether you're for the sanctuary cities or not, I hope you're for following the law. If you don't like the law, change it the proper way. Speaking of changing it the proper way, apparently the president has decided the proper way is with his pen. Unfortunately, the 5th District Court of Appeals, or Circuit Court, they're saying that his pen isn't quite as mighty as he thought it was. A judge down there calling Department of Homeland Security to get in front and find out why they decided they're not going to follow the court order. And a hearing today on the president's amnesty orders doesn't look good for that president right there, with 2 out of the 3 judges that are on this 5th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals already pretty much having voted against the president, but they'll keep on trying to see if he can get that pen working. Continuing on. You know, I've been talking to you about the loons in our country now that are really putting down the police. I was at the Anaheim City Council earlier this week listening to some people after a police officer, decorated police officer, had died, and they were honoring him at the city council. You had a bunch of people getting up talking about how you can't call the police, that they only kill people. And I had a conversation with a few police officers outside, and I said, you know, wonder when their communities have problems, who do they call? Do they call the local gang leader, or do they call the police? Are they calling 911? Where are they calling? Just a thought there, but the reason I bring this up is we're now seeing murder rates soaring in the U.S. Again, talking to the police officers, a lot of them are trying to get out of the line of work. They're saying that it's not worth it anymore. The risk from the management is greater than their risk in community. And they're saying, you know something, instead of going out and trying to prevent violent crime, they're going out to solve violent crimes. Big difference when you talk about prevent violent crime versus solve violent crime. Solving means that the crime already happened. And now we're seeing that for the first time in many, many years, the murder rates across the country are soaring. Sad day when these things start happening in this manner. Obviously, we're seeing that in a lot of areas. And we're starting to get a little bit complacent to it. The crime rates, you start seeing now that every week or every couple of weeks we see government hackings, the government losing data. Well, the latest Office of Personnel Management reports that 21.5 million people who have undergone background checks for security clearances, their data has been stolen. And this one is even worse because the references that they put down, the references data has been stolen. And if it was something new, that would be something that we could somewhat live with. You have to correct it. But apparently the OPM, this government office, has known about this vulnerability for about 8 years now. It's not a new issue. What are you doing about it? I've shared with you many times, again, that you have to watch your credit report. Go to creditsanitizer.com, creditsanitizer.com. You can actually get information right there on LifeLock. So try and protect your credit. Do what you can. You need to take control of these things. The government is not looking out for you. They will not look out for you. Don't leave it to them. Take some control on your own. I know that LifeLock is owned by one of the big bureaus, and I hate promoting something from one of the big bureaus, that really makes money by the loss of your data. But you got to still do what you can. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, yes, we will have the information about date night trivia presented by Reunion and Drink. We've got that date night package for you, so make sure you stay tuned. Boomerang buyers coming back to the real estate market. Are they really? Ways to lower your mortgage bill. Student loans, a problem for home buyers. And we're going to talk to Lisa Duarte about what's happening in the real estate market. You can reach me anytime at our easy for me to say it, our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, or on Twitter. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit.
Okay, so if we started dropping out near the end, and I bet the dropout is very similar to the time that the music started.
Change without notice.
Is that correct?
Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037 and DRE number 018694.
Yeah, so it's having trouble catching that music from your end while I'm still talking. So we might have to bring that background music in just a little softer.
Why do they overwhelmingly call Melinda Johnson? Simple. It's the Melinda Johnson trifecta. Melinda is an attorney, real estate broker, and realtor. Does your family deserve the same professional services California lawyers demand? Call Melinda Johnson at 714-863-5485. That's 714-863-5485. Or on the web at freedomfirstproperties.com.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission, lending partners will give a credit at closing, the title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Boomerang buyers coming back in force. That is the subject of today's real-time real estate segment, brought to you again by the Ron Siegel Radio VIP Hero Program. Love any program that deals with the heroes, the military, active, retired, reserve, law enforcement, firefighters, all the rest. If you want to know who's participating in the program, the real estate agents, the lenders, the title companies, the attorneys, credit repair people. Give me a call at 800-306-1990. I'd be happy to put you in touch with them. What is a boomerang buyer? Talking in real estate terms, a boomerang buyer is one who's a former homeowner who's gone through a short sale, foreclosure, or bankruptcy in the past few years, been saving for a down payment in preparation of the expiration of the waiting period one day in order to qualify once again for a mortgage. Between 2006 and 2014, over 7 million homeowners went through a short sale or foreclosure. These are national numbers. In 2014, 350,000 homes were sold to return buyers, the boomerangs. According to the National Association of Realtors, up to 1 million consumers have already restored their credit. Where are the rest of them? They got to get on the job and get their credit restored. Many borrowers who lost their homes to foreclosure have had that blemish wiped from their credit reports, making them again eligible for FHA and other mortgages. This could provide a tailwind for the market. That's according to the State of Nation's Housing Joint Center for Housing Studies at Harvard University. Looking at 2015, 2.2 million consumers will meet requirements for a mortgage in the next 5 years. That's according to the study. They're not looking at some of the new products that are coming on the market either, which will allow you to buy a home one day out of short sale, out of foreclosure. These products are back. No one thought they'd come back so quickly. Yes, they are at a higher interest rate, but that's relative. When you think about 2005, 6, 7, interest rates at that time, the biggest loan programs were at about 7.5%. Today we're looking at about 4% interest, give or take, depending upon your qualifications, some lower, some higher. Even if you had to pay 6.5% or 7% to get a house, pay your mortgage instead of somebody else's, aren't you better off? That's my contention, and if you want to chat about it, give me a call, 800-306-1990. That is the Real-Time Real Estate segment, again brought to you by the VIP Hero program. This morning we're going to chat with Lisa Duarte, Legacy Group Realty, and Lisa's from an area that probably knows all too well about these homes that had problems. The area you cover was probably ground zero, isn't it, Lisa?
Ground zero, battleground, still recovering. We still have quite a bit to do to get back up to where we should be.
So were you in the business at that time?
I was. I started back in 2004, 2005.
So you got to see a little bit of the good time and all the tough stuff.
Yeah, I had like a good 2-year roll before I hit the ground hard.
And a lot of people did. I mean, people think that it was the heyday of business, just because you were in real estate or because you were in mortgage lending. And the fact of the matter was, maybe the first half of the century, that 5-year period there was really good. But just like everybody else, the homeowners got hit, the real estate professionals.
Everybody got hit. I saw so many people go through the effects of the market. Even if self-employed people, of course, got hit worse.
Right.
They were the ones that they were dramatically hit. Then it went down because they were out of work. The people that were W-2, the regular 9-to-5 people, they even got hit because jobs were getting let go, jobs were scarce, and they were getting laid off. It was a trickle effect.
Sure. The whole economy was taking a dive, and obviously, unfortunately, I'll get a little political. A lot of politicians don't realize that the first to get hurt are going to be the working people.
Right.
The business owners, they're going to do everything they can to maintain their lifestyle.
Right, and that means letting go of the
Right. They're going to let go of the entry level or the working force. Right. And then you look at it and say, well, why did they do that? Well, it's self-preservation.
Right. Survival.
And you're in the Inland Empire mostly?
I am.
Okay, so the Inland Empire in California, obviously, they got 40, 50, 60% haircuts on the property values?
Oh gosh, we sold a home in 2006 for an average of $335. In 2007, 2000 to 2009, it sold for $150.
Wow.
Yeah, huge cut.
And those are good people. That's the problem with what happened in our society so much. We overcompensate, right? I mean, it's kind of like we have these people that are getting really hurt. And then to add insult to injury, we close down all the loan programs.
Right.
Right? I mean, those people really, good things happen, or bad things happen to good people.
And it just discouraged them. They didn't see any light at the end of the tunnel, and they had to wait several years before they can actually get back up there and buy again, and that was discouraging.
Right. Are you starting to see some of them coming back into the market, or are they able to do anything?
So many people. We were talking about the Boomerang buyers earlier. That's exactly what we're dealing with right now. A lot of people, a lot of programs are out there to help them get back into the market, back into the buying game. They don't want to rent forever. They know the benefits of owning a home. Everybody, the dream is to own a home.
Absolutely.
And they're doing everything they can, and they are getting back up there and buying homes again.
It's nice to see because, we know that I think the last numbers I saw, the household net worth is 35 times greater for a home owner than a home renter. And, they're good people. It's amazing that we haven't found a way, or some of the big hedge funds. People like to chastise the hedge funds, but they serve a great purpose because a lot of those people, I think, would have been willing to pay above market if they could get a loan.
They would have. They would have done whatever it took to get into a home or stay in their home.
Sure.
But the option wasn't there at the time.
So do you see a good return on investment now? Is the market heading backward? Are we back up in the positive direction?
It is. We're heading back up. We're not going to see the same cycle we saw back in, the 2004 to 2005, and then of course when the market crashed. We're not going to see that same spike, but it is gradually moving up there, and it's not because of anything else other than buyers' demand. So if you have 4 homes for sale, you're going to have buyers bidding over and above the appraised value in certain areas. Of course, location is always key.
Sure.
But buyers are the ones that are demanding the market value now. They are the ones that are designating the new price of today.
So do you see the sellers, does it matter what they list for then? If the buyers are going to really to make the final determination?
I've always believed that the sellers should be realistic. If they really want to sell their home, they need to be realistic in what they're going to list their house at. Every seller wants the top dollar for their home. Bottom line is we have to wait on the appraisal. They can only get financed according to the appraisal, as you know, unless you have out-of-pocket money to come in over and above. So they need to be realistic when they list their homes, but they are getting what they want for their homes right now.
That's a good conversation for us to have. I'm in the middle of right now consulting with a family. It's actually in downtown Los Angeles, and the property went up for sale at $549,000, and so far the bidding war is at $638,000.
Then they would see there's a few different games agents and sellers can play. I don't like to call it games, but in reality that's pretty much what it is. You can either start your bid off extremely low, attract every single buyer you can possibly attract, and then weed out the ones that really can't go up more than the listed price. They're realistically looking for a $549,000 property. But then you find the ones that are doing their homework, researching the property values in that area. They're going to put their bid in and just get themselves in the game, and they know it's going to go up about $75,000, and they're prepared for that.
It's an interesting, as you say, it's a game. I mean, it's a strategy.
It is.
And I think as the buyer, some of the buyers can be frustrated if they're a low information buyer, right? Because they're thinking that, why they don't stop and say, okay, it's a $700,000 neighborhood. I don't know what the neighborhood is on this one, but they're not thinking that it's a $700,000 neighborhood with a $550,000 asking price. Why?
And it takes a while for them to get educated and for them to get used to how this works. If it's a brand new buyer, they're going to say, oh, this is the property for me. This is right in my price range. It's a beautiful location. It's up to us as agents to educate them on how this works. If they're going to look at a certain price range of $549,000, they need to look in that market of $549,000, because that house will not sell for $549,000.
Right.
We know that. But we need to have our buyers, our clients, trust us when we tell them what it's going to realistically go for.
And the irony there, and I'm glad you brought that up because I'm going to want to talk about that more in the next segment, is it's easy to find that $549,000 property online.
Right.
But when you go to whatever that online service is, whether you found it on Zillow or Trulia or wherever, that service doesn't say that this property is probably not going to sell for the price it's listed at.
And not only that, a lot of those online free sites they're not up to date. They're not as up to date as frequently as our MLS. I always tell my buyers, they're always sending me properties. I found this one on Trulia. Can you tell me what's going on with it? I check it according to my MLS. It's already pending.
Right.
Because they're not kept up to date as quickly as our MLS is. Absolutely.
And that's the idea of you're spending a lot of money. And I don't care whether it's $200,000 for your first house or it's $2 million for your dream house. It's a lot of money to you. Mm-hmm. And don't try and do it on your own, because most of the time, you're not going to win that way. And we're going to talk about that more when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Great counsel. That will be part of our conversation when we come back. Ways to lower your mortgage bill. Student loans, a problem for home buyers. All that and more. You can reach us anytime. The off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. On Twitter, @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel lending team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel lending team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel lending team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Attention homeowners 62 and older. Do you worry if you can afford to keep your home? Are you concerned about paying all your monthly expenses? Or do you simply wish you could live a better retirement? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you may qualify for a program that can help. It's called FHA Reverse Mortgage. It's insured by the federal government. You'll receive tax-free money. You aren't required to make any monthly mortgage payments, and you still own your home. Siegel Lending Team is a local leader in FHA reverse mortgages. Call free to get your free reverse mortgage guide, free custom quote. And when you call now, you can get all your questions answered by local experts. There is no monthly mortgage payment and tax-free money you can use for healthcare expenses, home improvements, or just live a better retirement with peace of mind. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-1990 to get your free reverse mortgage guide and quote. You'll also find them on the web at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Call 800-306-1990 now.
Did you know that banks and credit bureaus are rewarded financially if you have bad credit? And the worse your credit score is, the more money they can make off of you? How does that make you feel, knowing that banks are getting rich off of your hard-earned money? How does it make you feel, knowing that if a bank or a credit bureau makes a mistake on your credit report, they benefit from it and it hurts you? The Fair Credit Report Act of 1971 requires banks and credit bureaus to report only accurate information, and nearly 100% of all credit reports are inaccurate. If you're sick and tired of being broke and tired of being robbed by the banks, you owe it to yourself and to your family to call Rondi. Rondi is a FICO-certified credit professional and has helped thousands of people just like you get out of debt and establish great credit. Rondi's number is 855-608-1990. Again, that's 855-608-1990. Or visit creditsanitizer.com. Again, that website is creditsanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today brought to you by Commerce for a Cause. Great organization. If you have a business, you accept credit cards, you're paying some sort of a credit card processing fee. Commerce for a Cause will match that fee and then take 20% of the fee and donate it to the charity of your choice. Love that concept. Helping out the community. You can make the call as to who the charity is. Give me a call at 800-306-1990. I will put you in touch with the folks at Commerce for a Cause. Great organization. Ways to lower your mortgage bill. Number one, hopefully you were listening earlier in the week when I told you to refinance then before the Greece situation cleared itself at all. Now that we see a little bit of hope on the horizon for Greece, starting to see interest rates bounce up a little bit, although they did come off their highs of the day. Refinance at a lower rate. Again, with the idea of refinancing or buying, I've shared this with you on a regular basis. Don't worry about where interest rates were. Who cares? You can't get interest rates based on what the prices were 2 or 3 or 4 months ago. Now, you can take advantage of the market today and lock in today, and if the rates go up, you're locked in. If the rates go down, refinance again. Who cares? Think about it. If you save $100 a month, $1,200 a year, over $30,000 for the life of the loan, then I hear people say, well, but it's going to cost me a couple $1,000s, Ron, to refinance. Well, let me ask you this. How many times did you trade $2,000 for $30,000? Seems like a no-brainer to me. Shop around for homeowners insurance. I've told you this one also. If you're not checking your homeowners insurance at least once a year, or all of your insurances at least once a year, find out. If you don't have a great agent who's calling you that often, give me a call. I'll put you in touch with one. You may have the right insurance coverage for your family. You may not. Look at it. Take a look at your tax bill. You can see if you are entitled to a lower property tax assessment. Maybe you want to make more extra mortgage payments. Maybe you want to call your bank. They're probably not going to do it. Ask them if they'll recast your mortgage into a lower rate. The big one, if you've owned your house for more than a year, some areas even 6 months, see if you can get rid of your mortgage insurance. Properties are appreciating. That's why I share all the time. If you can qualify for an adjustable rate FHA loan, you're far better off with the adjustable rate FHA than you are with a fixed rate FHA. Why? Because you're going to want to get rid of that mortgage insurance. It's almost 1 full percentage point. So even if interest rates go up a little bit, you're better off refinancing and get rid of that mortgage insurance. It's all about the Benjamin Franklins at the end of the month. And don't worry about interest rates. How many dollars does it take to meet your obligation at the end of the month? That's the number that counts, and that is the Mortgage Minute, again brought to you by Commerce for a Cause. I'm chatting this morning with Lisa Duarte, Legacy Group Realty. Lisa's a real estate broker, got into the industry for a couple of good years, and then got the experience of a little bit tighter real estate market. That's good for you, though, and that's what I wanted to chat about. We started talking about this before the break, about these different organizations, different groups, or websites. A lot of people, especially the millennials, are of the belief that, I don't need a real estate agent. I don't need a professional. I can buy my insurance online. I can go and get all the information about a house online, all of these things. And yeah, you can get some data online. The question that you don't know, is it accurate data? That's the big question right there. And in many instances, it's not accurate. Sometimes it is, but you don't know the difference between the two. If you're looking at spending $200,000, $300,000, $500,000, $1 million for a house, do you want to take a risk? Or do you want to give me a call at 800-306-1990, and I can put you in touch with a great real estate agent like Lisa who can help you with professional guidance. And Lisa, we were talking about that one strategy before the break where a seller, probably with the guidance of a real estate professional, will list a house significantly under market. And I've reported on some studies that say if you list your house at 90 or 85% of market, 90% of the people in your target price range are going to see it.
Correct.
Whereas if you list your house at 15% over market, only a 20 or 30% of your target price range you're going to see it.
Correct. You're not going to get the traffic at the higher listed price.
So do you see that the additional traffic translates into a higher closing price?
Absolutely. Higher traffic means word of mouth. Somebody sees it, somebody knows somebody who's in that price range if it doesn't fit their needs. So the word gets out.
Does it sell faster or slower, or which do you see there from a time on market standpoint?
Absolutely faster. I'd say 70% faster than if they had it listed over on an actual list price, higher list price than a little bit of a lower 85% price.
Interesting. Okay, so we're going to, those are kind of the benefits you really want to look at, and you say, okay, my property is going to sell for more money, it's going to sell faster. What's the downside?
It actually wouldn't sell for more money. It would sell for more money than they're listed at, but it would sell for the right amount of money.
Okay.
So they're not going to get any more or less than they would have if they listed it at the higher price. It would just take a lot longer and a lot more frustration. A few offers coming in that they're going to be upset about because they're at a lower price, which should have been the price that we were going to be listing it in the first place.
How are you able to get people to listen to you?
Generally, yes. I do have the ones that are sticklers, and they believe that their house is worth this much because Bob's house around the corner sold for this much, and my house is way better than Bob's, so mine should sell for a lot more than his.
Have you ever noticed anybody that doesn't have the nicest house on the block?
Nope. Everybody's house is the nicest house on the block.
Right? I mean, it's their house. They've got that emotional tie.
Oh, yes.
And I chat all the time. As soon as you make the decision to sell, I don't hear too many people using this terminology, but get divorced from your property.
It's true. They have to emotionally detach themselves. And I tell them, take down the pictures from the walls, take down anything that's sets you as a part of this home. Detach yourself and realize that this is not going to be your home anymore. You're moving on to bigger and better things. So prepare yourself for that.
So I'm looking at a picture on my computer screen here, and it basically is telling me that there's a property here that you had listed, and I think you told me that it sold pretty quick. Tell us the strategy of how you got this sold so quickly.
Well, this one also, sellers wanted to list it at a certain price. They wanted a certain amount. They're moving up north, and this home is gorgeous. It's beautiful. They've kept very well care of. A lot of care went into this home. Nothing was wrong with the property. They wanted to list it at $390. I did my comps, I did my research. Honestly, the house should sell for $370. And I told them that. I said, look, and they were adamant about listing it at $390, $395 even. I said, okay, do me a favor. I will list it for you for $395. Let's wait 2 weeks, see what kind of traffic we get. If we get minimal traffic, 1 or 2 people coming to look at your property, we have it listed too high. I know this because this is what I do.
Sure.
We did. We listed it at $395. We had two agents showing the property. And after the 2 weeks, they did what they asked. They did what I asked, and they lowered the price. $370. We had it sold 2 weeks.
So it's amazing how. So that gives us. That's the point that I wanted to make. Is as a consumer, we think we know, right? I mean, I don't know about all of your background. I would suggest that. Maybe if I asked you what the selling price is of a Maserati Galdi, or whatever that new car is, you may not know.
Right.
Right? That's not your expertise. It's not my expertise. But when you look at a piece of property that's in an area that you focus on, it doesn't take very long for you to say, okay, I know the house 3 doors down and it sold for X, and I know the house around the corner and it sold for Y, so your house should sell for somewhere in there.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's called experience.
And it's true. And we had the appraisal done. The appraisal came in $1,000 over the price that we have offered. I technically can't say because we're still in escrow, but the appraisal came in right at the amount that I told him it was going to sell for.
Interesting. So that's just the idea. And now I'm going to ask you another question. I think I know the answer to it. When you've gone out and listed properties, have you ever known anybody that really wanted their house listed, or do they really want their house sold?
They want their house sold.
Right? It's not an idea of it's not fun having to keep your house in show quality all the time.
Right. And people coming in and out, you don't know. You have to be prepared to leave the property if you're living in the property so somebody can come and view it. It's uncomfortable if the sellers are still there while other people are there to view the property. So my advice is always leave the property so it can get shown properly.
And then the bottom line there is if that's all the case, and I hear that all over the state with agents that I talk to, is sellers want their property sold, not listed. If they can get it sold without having a sign in front and without having a lockbox, they'd be even happier.
Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, like going into Walmart and saying, okay, there's the property I want, and it's sold.
Right.
Right? That's what they really want. It's not reality in home sales. But if that's the case, why not just listen to the professional? They're out there doing this on a regular basis. They know what your property is going to sell for. And you know something? I'll say something that's just very, very blunt as well. The real estate agents don't want your house listed either. They want it sold because they don't make any money when your property is listed. They make money when you're satisfied and refer people over and over and over again for sold, closed transactions. We're going to talk more about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Student loans, a problem for home buyers, and of course, it's Friday, so we've got Ron Siegel Radio Date Night Trivia presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. I've got the question. If you have the answer, put it right there on Ron Siegel Radio on Facebook, or you can just reach out to me at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter at Ron Siegel, and now all the shows are on YouTube too. Stay tuned, we'll be back in just a few.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation mortgage adoption plan. You be the judge if it's right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to map@ronsiegelradio.com, or call today Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporation and MLS 217037 and BCAL-BRE number 018694552.
Ron Siegel Radio Date Night Trivia, presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. Friday, Ron will pose a question based on-air conversations during the prior 7 programs. The person to post the answer according to the guest conversation will win a date night package, including a dinner gift card for Reunion Kitchen and Drink. You might even be able to say hi to Ron when you visit Reunion Kitchen and Drink.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037 and DRE number 018694552.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Word on Wealth segment today brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. They're all wrong. I've never seen one that isn't. Been looking at credit reports since the 90s. Rondi and I have made the offer to many, many people, actually to you. $1,000 if you can show me a completely accurate credit report. Now, I am not saying that a perfect score. I'm just saying completely accurate. And the only reason I make that offer is because I'm cheap, and I know that I'm not going to have to pay off because I've never seen a completely accurate report. It's just the way they are. Student loans, a problem for home buyers. I've shared this with you many, many times. If you're thinking about buying a home, it's not a issue like I mentioned in the last segment. You don't go to Walmart and say, I like that one, I'll buy it. Unless you've got a lot of cash. Then you can do that. But for most of us, we need to get financing. We need to do our diligence ahead of time. Part of that means looking at your credit report, understanding what you qualify for based on what lenders look at, not what you think you qualify for. Because there are certain items on there, and then there's strategies involved. Obviously, the credit report is one of them. Do you have some negative or derogatory items that are holding you back? The other one, student loans. It's amazing. It's been so easy for the last 10, 12 years to get student loans. So easy, way too easy, that our kids are now have way too much student loan debt. And there are some programs out there to help the kids. You just have to know that you've got to make the phone calls. You've got to do your homework to find those programs. They've got some need-based programs that say, you know something, you're newly out of college, your loans are supposed to start being repaid. You can't afford them, so we're not going to charge you the full amount. And as soon as they put a reduced amount on your credit report, then your ability to qualify will increase, or your purchasing power will increase, because your debt-to-income ratio will be better. If you don't understand all of that, I understand that you don't understand, so give me a call at 800-306-1990. I'll explain it to you, and I'll put you in touch with the people that can help you with that. That's just the way it works. Before we go any further, I better tell you about trivia, because I want somebody to go on a date. Maybe me. Don't tell my wife. So, Ron Siegel Radio Date Night presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. If you win the package, you might see my wife and I there. Don't I just kid about that. I jest a lot. Per Robert Mott, what is the fastest way to chill a bottle of wine? Robert's with us every Wednesday morning. You didn't hear me say where you can find the answer. Per Robert Mott, what is the fastest way to chill a bottle of wine? If you're the third person to put the correct answer, right there, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, you'll see the heart indicating it is Date Night Trivia with Ron Siegel Radio, presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. What did Robert Mott tell us? He gave us the exact way. Fastest way to chill a bottle of wine. Be specific. That is the question. So there it is. Our friends from Reunion Kitchen and Drink. They've got dinner for two. Great restaurant. I'm there more often than I should be. Come say hi if you see me. Dinner for two, movies, little Starbucks gift card we throw in. That is the issues right there. Date Night Trivia presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. Continuing our conversation about great real estate counsel with Lisa Duarte, Legacy Group Realty. So Lisa, are we starting to see, I know you were in ground zero for all of our training in real estate, I guess, with the market meltdown. Are you starting to see, is there still a lot of that out there, the short sales, is the distress sales?
No, that's declined dramatically. I have one short sale right now, whereas generally I would have about 5 to 7 short sale listings at any given time. Now I have one.
Interesting. So let me ask, let's kind of tie this back to what we've been chatting about. Historically, we look and we say, okay, a short sale is going to have certain characteristics as a consumer looking at that product. So we know that it's going to take a little longer in most instances for the transaction. We expect we're going to get a much, much better price.
Well, it will definitely take longer depending on the bank. If it's a bank that's well versed in doing short sales, they can go much quicker. If it's a smaller bank, they can take up to 6 to 9 months. Months.
Wow.
The bigger banks, Chase, Bank of America, those were taking about 60 to 90 days.
Okay.
And the smaller banks, such as PNC or something, Green Tree, something like that, they would take 6 to 9 months. I have one currently that we're going on a year.
Wow.
1 year.
But now, if I've got the patience to last that long, what kind of a savings can I see in a percentage-wise?
Typically, well, back then, a couple years ago, 2 to 3 years ago, you were seeing a dramatic savings. A house that should have sold for about $400, you'll get it for $250.
Okay.
Now they're changing rules quite a bit. So now they are sending out their own brokers' priced opinions, reports, and appraisals, and they want to list it or sell it near market value. So the short sales are not the same short sales that we were used to a few years back. That's what's changing everything so much, and that's what's making buyers veer away from the short sales and just go right to standards.
Yeah, I was going to say if you're gonna pay basically market value, what's the benefit of waiting so long?
There isn't any benefit anymore. Not only that, the banks will not do any repairs. They will not do any termites. They will not do anything to help the consumer purchase a property at a fair price, much less something that they would benefit from.
So my thinking is, if you're thinking that that's the right way, you missed the boat.
Yeah, right now is a time where you definitely miss the boat. Right now, the people that have sold during short sales, like you mentioned earlier, they're now buying again regular standard sales.
What are your thoughts about the person that says, I can't sell my house until I fix it up?
I hear that all the time, and I always recommend do the minimal, do something that's going to fix it, mow your lawn, make it look nice, give it curb appeal. Do not put any money into it until we get the buyer to see what kind of repairs are going to be requested, because there are always going to be repairs requested from the buyer.
What are you seeing? It's a kind of a real timely issue. As you said about mow the lawn. Are the brown lawns, is it deterring from sales?
Curb appeal, first impressions are the most that's going to stick with any buyer, no matter what. So you want to have your house looking clean. You want to have the yard kept up, the maintenance kept up. You want to have something that the buyer is going to envision themselves in, not something that's going to look dirty. So just the typical, the standard, cleaning up everything. Don't put any money in. I had a couple of sellers that wanted to change a whole fence and paint the house and put thousands and thousands of dollars into the property when they might not get that back. So I strongly recommend waiting.
Ties right in again. Get the counsel and don't try and do it yourself.
Right.
What about from the buyer's standpoint? What are buyers looking for? What's the hot buttons that, I know the curb appeal is the biggie.
Right now, buyers are leaning more towards bigger lots, open kitchen areas, and of course a fair price. But they want to see a house that's not so cluttered. They immediately think that the house is smaller if there's a lot of furniture. So I always advise the sellers to remove any excess furniture. Just live with the minimal that you can live with at the time.
What are your thoughts then about staging?
Staging is good if it's a vacant property. If you're living in the property, keep it staged as much as possible. I always tell everybody to remove their photos, remove any excess furniture, TVs, kitchen. Make sure the kitchen's always clean. There's nothing worse than a female buyer walking into a dirty kitchen.
Sure.
That's red flag number one. So
what are you going to find everywhere else if the kitchen's dirty?
Well, yeah, exactly.
and I don't know about your experience. I know in my household, I look at the dollars and cents. From there, I don't get much of a vote. My wife has all the votes.
So that's how it should be.
Right, exactly. Something that's worked for 28 years, so what the heck. But the bottom line is like you're saying, you have to make sure that mom's happy.
Right. It's bottom line is if mom's happy, wife's happy, then everything's a go.
Right.
It's really what the men look for, and I don't mean to sound stereotypical, but if the garage is grand and nice and has the pegboards and epoxy flooring, then they're good to go. The rest of the house is up to mom.
Exactly.
So that's
and just give me a little big screen out in the garage.
Exactly. You have your man cave.
Exactly. My big screen and a refrigerator so I can stay out there and hide from the honeydews.
Yeah, and I do see I do see the yards being a big issue now. Lots, because the houses before sold with the smaller lot sizes. Now they're looking for the big entertainment areas. That's a huge thing.
When you say the entertainment areas, that's going to be more of the big the TVs rooms or the fixed ceilings?
The exterior property, the patio, the island, the outdoor entertaining area. That's a big plus. That's huge this summer.
Yeah, summer months, we're there.
That's it. A
lot of fun stuff. Boy, it's great information. It's sharing this with you every day. I love the idea here. Homeowners associations, is that a big one?
It is a big one. It's a pro and a con. Some people like the homeowners association because it forces everybody to keep their houses clean and neat and tidy. It's a con because people don't like to be controlled. They have to ask permission for paint, and they get ticketed if their trash cans are left out for 2 hours extra.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a pain. It can be a pain, but it works for some people.
I'm an anti-government guy, so law enforcement, of course, but get the government stay out of our way, so the homeowners association should as well. Great information. Thanks for sharing. If you want to meet Lisa, just give me a call at 800-306-1990. Be happy to put you in touch, and she can help you with your real estate needs. And be sure to set your first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we speak about your house and your bank account. Thank you to all of our sponsors. A very big thanks to Steve, who's engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions, call me anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Remember my mantra, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun, have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
Get a cat or I go insane. It's only 12:30, but I don't care. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
5 o'clock.
XAPA News 700 AM.
Hi, it's Colin Coward. You're listening to ESPN Radio 1700. Catch me weekdays at 7 a.m. ESPN Radio 1700.
From the people who brought you the Baconator.